Hello everyone, today I will briefly tell you about the anime chronicles of Akasha, the worst magic teacher. The story begins with a boy reading a book about a wizard who defeated evil. From what the guy is inspired when you become a magician to protect those who are dear to him, we are shown a magic academy. In a non-wall that students cannot use magic, but despite the ban, one of the main characters, Lumia, helps an old man who is caught up with her, and our second hero, Sistina, runs up to her. Where Lumia once stopped living, after which they became a family, their teacher Hugh fell ill. Expect him to be a worthy replacement and run into our protagonist Glenn Raiders. He runs at them, which is why Sistina launched his fountain. They want to apologize. He says that the fault really lies with them and starts pawing Lumia from head to toe, asking if he has seen her before, which is why he's being launched again. It turned out that he is a new teacher, he announces independent study, but after all, he gets up because of the persistent system. It did not give anything to the students because they did not understand the contents of the board. Sistina demands an explanation, but the bell rings and Glenn runs away. One of the teachers is against Glenn being a teacher because he has a low rank and no education, but he is put in his place by the one who recommended him to Salika as a powerful magician, and although Glenn did not want to go to this job, she forced him to do it for his own good. Glenn meets the heroines in the cafeteria and gives delicious beans to Lumia and wants to share with Sistina. In response to this, she is sarcastic and he tells her to tell him everything straight. Sistina starts talking about his behavior. Glenn thought that she just wanted beans too and gave her what she wanted, but instead he took a piece from her because of her invariably lazy behavior. Sistina calls the teacher to a duel. In this world, the spell is read and then applied in this fight. They will use lightning magic. The one who will be able to shorten the spell more strongly will win. Glenn loses in all rounds. He considers the reduction to be heresy and ignores his promise to become a normal teacher if he loses and runs away. In class, Glenn belittles magic and says that it was created only for killing, which Sistina is very offended by and gives the teacher a slap in the face. After that, in the evening, Glenn finds Lumia trying to make a magic circle. He helps her and she succeeds, which is why he remembers his childhood delight. Lumia says that she needs magic in order to help people, and when she becomes a strong magician, she wants to thank the hero who saved her from evil wizards a long time ago. Glenn seems to remember the rescued girl in Lumia. She tells him to apologize to Sistina because magic is important to her because of her grandfather. Sistina's grandfather wanted to find out the secret of the Heavenly Island and pass this dream on to his granddaughter. At the next lesson, Glenn apologized and taught a lesson. He explained that depending on how you read the spell, it changes in a certain way and not just doesn't work. He says that magic studies a person's perception as an example. He tells Sistine that he loves her, then shows how ordinary word can affect a person. Glenn says that you can shorten the spell of association, and lightning can be the essence of the incoming new word freeze. With lectures, he gains popularity. The next day, he is late for classes and notices hidden enemies. Another bandit comes into the classroom and looks for Lumia, who turns out to be a princess. The bandit wants to have fun with Sistina, but Glenn interrupts him. He created a primordial spell and imprisoned it in the Fool's card. Now, not the enemy, not the teacher, cannot use magic. So Glenn answered him in hand, and finished him off with a magic fist, the magic of which is to turn him into a kit. Glenn contacts Salika and talks about what happened. He also realized from the tattoo that this organization is the most famous criminal group of magicians called the Will of the Wisdom of Heaven. Well, since they created a barrier around the academy, they worked on the teleport, so Salika can't help them. Skeletons are called into the room. The heroes run away from them, and with the help of fists enchanted by Sistina, the teacher detains them. Glenn asks Sistina to destroy them with a spell. She does not succeed, and he uses very powerful black magic because of which he loses strength. A member of the group who manages swords attacks them. Glenn throws Sistina off the balcony so she won't get hurt. Glenn's cards don't work, but the spells are already activated and he has a hard time. He takes the swords into himself and defuses them with the raised Sistina, after which he kills the bandit. The enemy recognizes him as a member of the Imperial Special Squad that destroyed magicians and wants to call his name, but he dies. After resting, he runs to Luma, who is chained behind the barrier by Teacher Hugh. Due to Hugh Glenn's conditions, he has to eliminate circles with the help of blood. Glenn says that he wanted to become a magician of justice, but after what he saw, he settled down. But now I remember someone close to him. He is inspired to continue following his dream. Unfortunately, his strength is leaving him, but Lumia fills him with mom. They win and take a well-deserved break. Outside the academy, competitions will be held at which the queen will be present. She is the mother of Lumia. Once she kicked her daughter out because of abilities that the world should not know about. She does not expect forgiveness for such an attitude, but still love her daughter. Glenn wants money. They tell him that the reward is due for winning competitions, so the teacher distributes students for suitable competitions and goes to train them. But another class occupies the area while the teachers are swearing. They bet on whose class will win and set a 3-month salary. At night, Lumia remembers how Glenn saved her and thinks about her mother. Sistina is worried about her. But Lumia replies that now Sistina's parents are her mom and dad. The queen goes to the competition and puts on the proposed necklace. Glenn's team, to his surprise, breaks out into the top 3. These are watched by the queen and Salika. It is being tested for protection from mental attacks that are carried out by some pervert. Lumia resisted to the end even against a serious opponent. The queen is very happy to see her daughter happy, but in fact she lacks just seeing her from afar. Glenn notices 2 unknown personalities whom he once abandoned without saying anything. They keep an eye on the queen's guards and on the strange activity in her army. Glenn helps the student with transmutation spells, turning into Lumia. He tells her that she needs to present a clear image, and everything will work out. Sistina confuses him with Lumia and offers him food that he does not want to refuse. But the real Lumia comes and he is exposed and then sent to the sky. After these sandwiches bring him a lumen saying that they are from an anonymous person who first wanted to throw them away. Then the queen comes up and apologizes to Glenn, except for him from the ranks of the army, but he says that he wanted to leave himself, so everything is normal. The queen wants to talk to her daughter, but she rejects her and runs away. Her Majesty asks the hero to take care of her daughter and Glenn agrees. Sistina tells Glenn that Lumia does not come in any way. He is responsible for the havel of super delicious sandwiches thanks to her and goes to Lumia. He convinces her to talk to her mother, but they are interrupted by the guards saying that the queen ordered Lumia to be killed for an attempt on Her Majesty. Glenn is knocked out and Lumia resigns herself to fate, but the teacher saves her and contacts Celica, who for some reason can't tell him anything. He understands that he can't get to the queen alone, and then 2 unknown people attack him. It turns out that the maid turned out to be from the same criminal organization, and this necklace is cursed, which is why Celica and the guards cannot act. Unknown turns out to be Glenn's old comrades, Albert with the star map and Reels with the chariot map. Our hero has a fool's map, and Salika has a world map. They team up to get to Queen Albert, and Riel replaces Glenn as a mentor, and Sistina agrees to this, thanks to Albert. All team members manage to pass the test. The last test is a duel in which Sistina brings the final victory. The mentors approach the queen to receive the reward, but it turns out that Glenn and Lumia have changed their appearance with their comrades in order to get closer. Salika activates the barrier to the surprise of the hero. The meeting with the queen does not solve the issue, and Her Majesty orders to kill Lumia. Glenn guessed that it was the necklace and through the pain was able to remove it. The curse did not work because of the Fool's card. The queen hugs her daughter and apologizes for the pain caused, and Lumia calls the queen mom. A long time ago, the queen asked him to save Lumia. He realized that the queen was lying about the execution because he knew how much she valued her daughter. At night, Glenn comes to a class that has leaked all his money received for competitions and from an argument with another teacher. The teacher started teaching Sistina martial arts and says that after them, he will teach her combat magic. She sends a bodyguard to the academy for Lumia from the Imperial Army, who turns out to be real. She wants to protect Glenn and not Lumia, but she is being brainwashed. She introduces herself to the class and boasts about her personality, but Glenn saves her. On a practical task, she scares everyone with her way of doing it. But because of the cute eating of cakes, she is again treated with affection. The class goes to the sea and enjoys the opportunity to admire the girls' swimsuits there. Glenn finds Albert undercover, who warns Glenn that Riel is dangerous, after which there is a rest in swimsuits. The boys want to spy on the girls, but the teacher, despite the fact that he would have done so in their place, stops them. Riel tells the girl that Glenn used to be sad and calm at night. They come to the beach and have fun after Glenn talks to Riel, and she says that because he left, she lost the meaning of life. He replies that she needs to find her meaning of life as her brother told her. Riel is furious and does not understand why he no longer needs her protection and says that Sistina and Lumia stole it from her. At this time, the enemies are preparing for another attack. Glenn's class goes on a field trip to the lab Riel falls and the friends worry about her, but Riel tells them not to approach. Glenn explains that it's because of him and the girls didn't do anything like that. In the laboratory, there's a conversation about a canceled project to revive a person who actually duplicates the dead and does not resurrect at the cost of several lives. The scientist says that there was a rumor that the will of the wisdom of heaven was able to perform the experiment. In the evening, Sistina tries to make peace with Ariel, but she runs away and cries on the beach. Glenn goes after her and asks the girls to take care of Ariel. On the beach, she is met by her dead brother, Albert, entering into a fight with the queen's fake mate. She turned out to be a necromancer and she has incredible regeneration. Albert decides that he needs to kill her here and now. Brother Riel convinces her to join his side, the side of the organization of the will of heaven. Glenn tries to save her, but gets a sword in the back. Now Riel is on the side of his brother and the dark organization. The maid escapes and Albert notices Glenn. Sistina returned to the room after going for food and found Ariel almost killing Lumia. Sistina can't shoot and Riel runs away. Albert brings Glenn and tells her to give him artificial respiration. She decides. Glenn wakes up and Albert says that he will kill Riel as soon as he meets her, but the hero wants to try to reason with her. Albert gives him a gun. They are sent with the help of a bug to the enemies. The scientist from the laboratory turned out to be an enemy ally, sends a chimera to the heroes who came, and after they easily kill the turtle. Because of this, the scientist himself goes to eliminate them. Albert detains him and Glenn makes his way forward. The guys at the hotel want to help, but Sistina convinces everyone to believe in the teacher and not to go so as not to interfere with him. Glenn came to Riel and fighting with her tries to reason with her, saying that her brother died a long time ago, but she does not believe. He asks what her brother's name is and for some reason it stops Riel, which is why he knocks her to the ground. It turns out that Riel is a revival project and she is a revived version of a girl who was killed by a traitor who also killed her brother. The fake brother summons 3 empty Riel, whom Glenn and the true Ariel destroy and knock out the traitor. Albert defeated the scientist and the girls meet and reconcile. We are shown how Sistina's parents take great care of the new guest on the balcony. Riel apologizes and thanks the girls. Glenn thanks Sistina for saving him. She is very embarrassed. Riel does not tolerate if her friends are offended and punishes Glenn. On the street, the guys met an old childhood friend of Sistina who wants to marry her. Glenn congratulates her and she sends him flying. The blonde man came to replace the sick teacher and successfully conducts the lesson, after which he talks to Sistina on the street. Our trio follows them at the request of Lumia. In response to Sistina's offer, she refuses because she wants to fulfill her grandfather's dream. He says that her dream is stupid and unattainable. To which Glenn objects. The blonde says that he has nothing to do with it. But Sistina and Glenn play engaged, after which Glenn challenges the blonde to a duel. The duel will be class on class, and Glenn wants to prepare them to marry for convenience and never work because of the money they received in marriage. In the bar, he talks to Albert, reporting on the heavenly dust-making puppets out of people, and Albert tells the hero not to interfere. But the heroes just don't want the same thing to happen again as with Sarah, a girl who looks like Sistina. The duel turned out to be the plan of a gray-haired stranger working with a blonde. A team duel is being held, which our team wins with the help of fraud and tricks. The blonde is indignant and breaks down on his clap. After that, he calls Glenn to a duel one-on-one. The heroes again crucify about the money they will receive after marriage, and for this they give him a slap in the face. Lumia convinces Sistina that he is not doing this for money and advises to talk to him at night on the roof. She came to Glenn and he told her that he just snapped because she looked like his girlfriend, whom he did not save and was disappointed in magic. A blonde man comes to them and begins to tell them that the hero's hands are up to his elbows in blood and other dirty tricks because of which they are fighting. But with a strong spell, the blonde ends the duel and openly threatens Sistine that his sister will not be well if she does not marry him. From the next day, Glenn did not appear at the academy. Sistine had decided to marry a blonde, and it was time for the ceremony. Lumia came to Glenn and asked for help, and all this time he was preparing. Before the kiss, he bursts into the hall and kidnaps Sistina class, and Glenn and the girl face the most dangerous enemies, people who inhaled the heavenly dust. Glenn tries to protect her and remembers that Sarah died in the same situation. She sees all the cruelty with which Glenn kills them and is scared of him. After which the truth is revealed, the blonde is actually dead and his place was taken by a gray-haired stranger in the past, a soldier of the Imperial Army. He says that he wants to get an item that gives the great power of the Akasha Chronicle. But to use them, he needs to kill our hero on the orders of Glenn. Sestina runs away and does not understand what to do. The hero tries to oppose something to the enemy, but loses it by saving Sestina, who talks about how Glenn and Lumia are dear to her. Together they cope with the enemy, but the hero is distracted by Sestina, who has lost all mana, which is why the enemy escapes. He goes to school and remembers his childhood dream of becoming a magician of justice, to protect those who are dear. That's how this awesome anime ended. My score is 10 out of 10. Put likes and subscribe. Bye everyone.